It's exactly 9:41 a.m. We still have two more interviews to get through to. We'll speak with lupus warrior Wahida Dokrat as our last interview. But next up, we are going to be talking with Lulu White, and we're looking at the issue of the 2.2 billion rands funding allocation. We understand that the Electoral Commission of South Africa says the country's electoral process is becoming an expensive exercise due to the Electoral Amendment Bill. What is this all about? Is this serving us as the general public or not? Should this bill have been amended, and will independence make a difference? To answer all of those questions is none other than elections expert and CEO of the Elections Consulting Agency of Africa. That's you, Lulu White. A very good morning. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Julie. Thank you very much for having me.
Long time no speak. Nice to have
Definitely.
you. All right, Lulu, the bill has been amended. Do you believe it's a good thing or a bad thing? A lot of people are suggesting perhaps we need more independence on board, but it does come at a price, does it not?
It absolutely does come at a price. Look, I think it is an important thing. The bill is definitely required. It is necessary for us to have the bill. Independent candidates have been excluded from national and provincial elections for a very long time. So it was made basically a constitutional issue that matter be resolved. It was definitely necessary that we go this route. I think in the previous interview that I've done with Salala Media, I did say that in terms of how the execution, perhaps, one is not too convinced that there will be enough candidates that can be fielded. But as far as the bill being a necessity, definitely it was a definite necessity that it becomes law, so that everybody has equal access and equal opportunity to be able to contest for whichever level of elections that they would like to participate in.
I don't know too much about the process, and that's why you're here to give us all of the necessary criteria. I'm kind of wondering, won't you just have a situation of all these Johnnies come lately wanting to jump onto the bandwagon because they seem this as a lucrative way of, position, name, fame, and fortune. Will they truly be serving the people? So what is the criteria? How do they get on board? And are there initial costs for them as well involved?
Right.
I mean, do they have to pay anything up front?
Yeah, they do. Actually, towards the election, you will then hear there'll be proclamation notices that the IEC will then do. Then those proclamation notices would then detail how much the deposits are for each seat that each person wants to participate in. So it's definitely not going to be an easy or a Johnny come lately type of scenario. I mean, and when I look at these things, I always often just mirror it with what's happening at local governments. At local government, independent candidates are allowed to contest. The monies, meaning the deposits for that, are actually quite nominal in comparison. But you also don't find a large number of candidates. I think the last time we checked, it was less than 10% of the people of voters registered in those areas that actually participated in these elections. So there are really never that many people that actually contest as independents. So even in this particular instance with national and provincial elections, one doesn't get the sense that you'll have a large number of Johnny come latelys coming to join and participate, particularly because, number one, the finance may be a criterion that might be limiting. Number two, even the quota systems, there's quotas that have been put for each province. There's various amounts of registered voters that have been taken into account, and the quota systems that have been placed there may also act as a deterrent, unfortunately, to having large numbers of independent voters participating. So I think that's not something that we really should worry about. I particularly was one among those that were concerned to say those quotas would be limiting people that really want to participate. The elections deposit as well is actually also a limiting thing. If you know that, for example, for political political parties, the amount of monies that are being paid are quite high. So I think we as citizens of the country should rather be hoping for and rather urging people to actually participate independently, given the fact that a lot of people have lost faith in political parties, and people really want to find alternative voices that can represent their interests without necessarily having a political party. So I think this should be something that we celebrate. We should be fighting that there should be lesser deposits for independent candidates. We should be fighting also those quotas to say they look like they could actually limit the number of independent candidates coming through.
But that still leaves me with a concern. The concern being criteria, credentials, what sort of deposits are we looking at here? Are they refundable? Where does that deposit money go to? And then this independent, how many people would she or he be expected to be representing? Would it be a particular community? Would it be a town? Would it be a suburb, etc.? Because you would get chances, let's face it. And where does that money come from? Is it the people that he's representing? Do they come up with the money? So all of those questions should be a barrier to entry for a chancer, just so that we are, we are ensured that you're getting the right type of candidate on board. He or she is truly going to be serving the people.
Look, how do we define a chancer? Because you also have political parties that are regarded in that particular light.
Absolutely.
So with regards, for example, I think in Gauteng, when I looked at the quotes that were being given, plus minus, if my memory serves me correct, for example, for Gauteng, a candidate that was supported from Gauteng, according to the quota, needed around 8,000 people to support them, because when a candidate fills in an application, they must be nominated, and that nomination must be supported by about 8,000 people in Gauteng, whereas in the Northern Cape, I think the candidate needed to have support of around 1,400 people. So the quota is basically different, and it's based on the number of, on a certain calculation that is being done according to the province, per province, based on the population that is in that particular province. So that's why I said I don't really think that anybody that decides that they want to contest an election independently for these upcoming elections would be somebody that would be regarded as chancer. It would definitely be somebody, what we'll see on the ballot, in my view, would be somebody who has the strong support of the community where they are based. And in terms of fundraising, I think you remember one of the biggest challenges also that the independents are also facing in this upcoming election is that political party funding only talks to political party funding, meaning that political parties are able to galvanize support and look for funding from various sources, whereas there's currently no law that supports that particular principle also for independent candidates. And that is something that the IEC will possibly look at after these elections. But independent candidates are allowed within the confines of the law to raise funds in the manner in which that they see fit. It could be the people that would have nominated them or supporting them that would help them raise those funds, but they are allowed by the law to actually be able to galvanize and look for funds in whichever method and manner in which they are able to, so that they're able to contest and be regarded as serious contenders. Another big challenge that they are also likely going to face. So political parties, because of their large support structure, also have funds for campaigning. That is not a benefit that an independent candidate would have. And that's why I think in my earlier discussion, I said that as civil societies, generally, we should be rather supporting this great initiative and applauding the law in terms of the constitutional law, forcing that the IEC actually does this, because it then offers a lot more people more opportunity to be able to have their voices heard with regards to how it is that they want to be governed. And it's something that we really have to celebrate as a country. And we should actually be asking the IEC to make the process a bit more, not that it allows for every Tom, Dick and Harry to participate, but a bit more enabling for independent candidates to come on board. It would really be interesting to see how that goes.
I'm just thinking about my own community. We all, and I think this is very evident in communities right across the country, that you have that one mover and shaker and doer,
Mm,
and he or she goes out and does the necessary things to make the community safe, to make the community workable, etc., etc., etc. And those are the type of people we want,
mm.
obviously representing us in government. But does that independent candidate have a strong enough voice to make a difference?
Yeah. See, that is now the big question, because once again, when we look at the structure of independent candidates and how they're operating at local government, one gets the sense that they do not have enough support. You find that political parties are more likely to support each other over the decisions of an independent candidate. I mean, that is why up until today, despite the challenges all of these municipalities are facing, we've never had a single mayor or an executive mayor that comes through as an independent candidate. And that in itself should show you that they do not enjoy the support from their political party counterparts to be able to ascend to such positions. So I think that is the fault. I think, yeah, I think this is where the system almost fails, because at the end of the day, the independent is not able to, on his own, pass bills. He still needs the support of all these other political parties that would be sitting with them in parliament in order to actually have the proper impact. And that is something that communities also need to take into account as they're preparing their candidates and they're looking at who the next persons are that they can support. That when these people get to parliament or wherever that they or provincial legislatures, they have to sort of bargain and batter and with all the other members of parliament in order for them to actually have their voices heard, in order for their needs to be met as a community. So it's not just an easy thing. Do I believe that the country will get there eventually? I think the country will get there eventually. We have seen with a number of protests, we have seen with a number of that people have become much more restless and they want attention and they want to be attended to. Perhaps that's where the strength of an independent member of parliament would come from, because then they'd be able to say, in this particular community, which is my community, we've had so many protests, and this is as a result of this. I therefore urge parliamentary members to actually take portfolio committees and we go there and we sort those problems out. But it definitely increases the chances of having more and more communities being heard, having somebody who's not from a political party sitting in parliament.
I guess in closing, one can just look at a Gayton McKenzie
Yeah.
uh, to testify and to give you the reassurance that it
Mm,
can and does work.
mm.
Because apparently, from what I'm hearing, he definitely served his community very, very well.
Yeah, I mean the reports that are there have shown that. So that basically shows that one person with the right determination and the right support behind him can actually can move mountains with the work that they do for their communities. It's possible. It's just that our communities as well. I think this is another failing that we have as communities and as civil society. Once we elect a political party or an independent to fight our battles, we then sort of take a step back. But this is actually a symbiotic relationship. You know, you give
Absolutely.
some, you give some. We also have a responsibility to make sure that those people that we have elected are accountable to us. They deliver on the things that we ask for as the community. Now, if you just put a person there and you say, let them figure it out for the next 5 years, there's no sense of accountability, there's no monitoring, there's no evaluation. Then you come back 5 years and you say, but you've not delivered. Exactly what do you want him to deliver on when you did not put measurement systems in place to ensure that these milestones that you want have actually been achieved?
Lulu White, that's where we leave it. Elections expert and CEO of the Electoral Consulting Agency of Africa. Undoubtedly, with the elections around the corner, we'll be talking with you on a more regular basis. Thank you indeed for your time. Go
Oh,
well. God
all right.
bless.
Bye.
9:54 exactly. Our final guest is standing by to talk to us, and she is a lupus warrior. Wahida Dokrat is her name, and of course, we are also commemorating World Lupus Day. So please stay with us.